Shots here.
Number 4,
gradually left to see number 4, Nettywell, for the Russell stable. Only had 2 hurdles runs. Ability on both occasions. Second at Ayr, good performance, staying on well. Fourth at Carlisle, just as good, I think, behind 2 useful horses, Gitmaker and Masked Crusader, that McCain horse who bolted up last week at Carlisle. Gets a rating of 109 for that. He's got something about him physically, this horse, Peter. He's quite tall. Bit leggy at the moment, but there's something there to work on, and I think he's a strong stayer as well. So if Carton happened to use up quite a bit of fuel early on, that would suit Nettywell just fine.
Yeah, and the running in this maiden, the rating of 109, they could have gone in a handicap off that sort of mark, but they found this opening as well. Only runner on the card for Lucinda Russell. And I like that you didn't swerve the Gitwell earlier on as well, because some people like to give it a bit of French to the Gitwell.
Well, maybe it is.
No, but I think you did it right. I think you did.
Gitwell.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
So what do you think?
I suppose 6 runners. But Brian Hughes' horse is very keen.
He's a free-going sort,
that's
you
it.
see.
I rode Thunder Milan in the same race when he ran here. It was very foggy. He was keen, and I think he's do the same again. But I think Brian will probably pop out and make the run, and will probably line up just behind him, not far away, follow him round. I think ideally, I suppose there's only. You'd like to think there's only 3 of us in it, isn't there?
In the market.
That's it.
Unless something sprouts wings.
Exactly, out of nowhere. But in that sense, it should be straightforward, really. I suppose I thought he ran well at Carlisle, but if he came here off of Ayr, you'd imagine he'd probably be in his favourite, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I think he'll be favourite. He's very nearly favourite now.
Is he? Well, yeah. But even off his Carlisle run, he probably wouldn't have to improve.
He would, no, not really. No,
I
as
think
you
the track
say.
could probably suit him as well.
Yeah.
Carlisle's quite sharp.
Yeah.
This year's very similar to Ayr, isn't it? So touch wood, look at it.
Ground's testing, though, it's really.
Yeah, it's holding enough, but I think he probably would go through it. Like I don't think it. I don't think it'll affect him. No.
Good.
Well, I'd like to think that. So. All right.
Okay.
Cheers.
Sure.
But Nettywell, 109 is the rating in this maiden hurdle. 4th at Carlisle last time, that was on soft ground, and ran well on the last 2 runs. So Nettywell's obviously a player, and the market reflects that.
No question. And he looks the type of horse who should stay on well here. He certainly did that at Ayr first time, and he stayed on pretty well at Carlisle last time when he was in behind a couple of very, very capable horses indeed. Gitmaker, and Masked Crusader, who has franked the form since. So if he can keep in touch early, he should be coming home with a will from 2 out. Tactics could be very important here with 3 fancies and 3 long shots. The other one we should mention towards the top of the market is Ritson, who's 6-4 favourite to continue this men's hot streak. I thought Nettywell might just shade favouritism. Isn't on stage for Cheltenham Festival.
Look at that, Nettywell now, 6-4.
Ah, right. Maybe I didn't have the market that wrong. We'll soon find out whether we've got the result right. But Carton and whether he settles, absolutely crucial here.
Away for the racingtv.com maiden hurdle over 2 miles and heading on towards the first flight. With the lead is Carton, who was taken down quite steadily by Brian Hughes and bands away by a couple of lengths in the early stages. From Pileup, who races in second, Ritson back in third, and then Nettywell, who attracted a bit of money late. Further back then to Héritier de Sivler as they come over flight number 1. Last to land was l'Abbé Vitesse. Going on towards the second flight, they'll be jumping 8 in total, and it is Carton with the lead, and jumps that well. From in second place on touching down Pileup, a neck back to Nettywell in third, and then over towards the inside on the right as we look on down the course Ritson, and then a few lengths break back to Héritier de Sivler and l'Abbé Vitesse as Carton takes the third flight with plenty of fluency and races on down the run-in for the first time, 2 to 3 lengths ahead. Carton from in second place, just nosing into second place now, Nettywell, with Pileup in third and Ritson in, and then a 4-length break back to Héritier de Sivler and another 5 lengths back to l'Abbé Vitesse, who on the run going away from the stands was just chivied into the bridle there by Nick Schofield, making the run left-handed now out towards the far side of the track. Carton and Brian Hughes, who's currently on 173 for the current season, gunning for the 200 no doubt. In second place is Ritson along the inside of Nettywell. Ritson for trainer Rebecca Menzies, who remains in great form. She had a big winner down at Doncaster on Saturday. Nettywell a little wider out. Lucinda Russell's only runner here today, the white and red colours, as they come to jump the next. Back in fourth on touching down, Pileup, and then a couple of lengths back to Héritier de Sivler, and still a few lengths back to l'Abbé Vitesse, last of all. So making the run over on the far side of the track, just the one more flight of hurdles to get across going down here, and it is Carton enjoying an uncontested lead. Comes over this flight, rather ran down it, but safely across, and leads by quite a long way now. From Nettywell over towards the inside, the red cap, also in white and red Pileup, a little wider out, followed in fourth by Ritson, and in behind Ritson goes Héritier de Sivler and a struggling l'Abbé Vitesse. Galloping towards the end of the back straight, a left-handed turn now upon them, and it continues to be Carton, leading by 2 lengths over Nettywell in second, who appears to travel quite sweetly under Stephen Mulqueen. A similar break to in third Ritson, who's now getting past Pileup, and then Héritier de Sivler. As they make the run left-handed back towards the home straight, there must be a good 12-length break back to l'Abbé Vitesse, who's labouring in last. So making the journey in. They've got 3 more flights of hurdles left to jump at a half mile to travel. Carton showing in front with a much reduced advantage though now as they straighten up. Nettywell in between horses and Ritson covering all moves down the outside. Pileup is pushed along fourth, and a little break back off those two Héritier de Sivler as Carton is now overtaken by both Ritson and Nettywell, coming down to 3 out. Nettywell along the inside of Ritson. Ritson the first of that pairing to come off the bridle. Back in third is Carton, then in fourth Pileup, and a break back to Héritier de Sivler as Nettywell takes the second last with a length and a half in hand over Ritson in second. Carton back in third, needs more, and then Pileup as they go down towards the final flight of hurdles, and Nettywell, who was well back beforehand, now shows in front by the best part of 3 to 4 lengths and is extending well. Nettywell is up and over the last, fiddled his way across, but safely clear to in second place Ritson, who might well be pressed for the second spot again by Carton, but racing into the closing stages, Nettywell in the end is going to run out quite an easy winner of this maiden hurdle. A Maiden No More, Nettywell, and Lucinda Russell's only runner on the card prevails. It's tight for second, Carton and Ritson, further back to Pileup and Héritier de Sivler.
Nettywell bolts up really. Stephen Mulqueen's mount really tanking down to the last in hand, popped the last. Nettywell wins.
Congratulations, Stephen. It looked straightforward there, was it? Thank you.
So who's that?
Five for the penultimate furlong, and you can see that Stephen Mulqueen is loaded. He's got his 2 ears pricked. Nettywell, he's clearly mastered Carton, who didn't pull hard, and therefore that goes down as another step backwards from his first run. Ritson looks he just looks short of a bit of finishing punch, doesn't he? And he got run out of second in the end, Peter. So he's probably run to about the mark, the 105 mark that he came into the race with. But slightly awkward leap at the last. But he looks like he's playing around in front, this horse, Nettie. Well, I think he's definitely got more to come. He travelled like a best horse in the race from a good way out. A look over the right shoulder for McQueen tells him that he's no danger. He's won by 5 or 6.
Probably all manifested in that performance there. Big smiling face as well on the way back in. That's the way to do it. Looked a competitive race on paper, less the runners. There weren't too many of them in there. Stephen Mulqueen will be absolutely delighted with that. Walking back in, saluting the crowd as well. 6 went out, had a comprehensive success for this horse Nettiwell. 6-4 Fav in the end. Carton 5-2 was second.
He can be a slight bit of a warrior, you know, he gets warm and he thinks about it. And even there, like you'd say, he hasn't had a race, but when I pulled up, he was having a good blow. He knew, you know, just so as a stepping stone for him, it's probably brilliant. He jumped brilliant.
Yes, I know. You fiddled the last bit, but that was it.
That was just in front, having a look, never been there before.
Yeah. I know.
Too tired at the end.
Yeah, big baby, he was pulling himself up in front, and but you know what? He said he's got his head in front now, and he's not been hit.
No.
Brilliant stepping stone for him.
Exactly.
Better things to come.
That's right. The only problem is a handicapper will not miss him now. Well, Carton's 112, he's only 109, so we go.
I had a lucky fiver on. Well done.
I had a fiver on Shyness.
Oh, did you?
No, but look.
I just thought I would say hello because I've not seen you yet. Well done, everyone.
Right.
We get a picture, will we?
Okay. Yeah.
Learning, he jumped the best he's jumped today, actually, whether it was a small field or whatnot. You know, Carlisle the last day was probably just a bit sharp for him in the inside track, and he made 1 or 2 mistakes, so it was great to get that for him.
I guess you always knew how you were going to ride the race because you knew Brian Hughes' horse would be free going enough.
Yes, it was ideal, really, you know, knowing he was probably fancied, and put an arrow on his back and just follow him round, and hopefully he jumped them all okay. Yeah.
How fast do you think they went throughout that in the heavy ground? Was it a nice even pace?
It did. Yeah, it seemed an honest enough gallop for the conditions. You know, it's quite holding, it's quite deep ground out there. But yeah, no, it was relatively straightforward.
Yeah. And the horse has got a mark of 109. I mean, he'll go up, and I guess he'll go up for that. He's a maiden, though. But was Lucinda intent on winning one of these races before going into a handicap, or was it just the way the race fell?
Probably just the way it fell. You know, I'd say it was just he's young and experienced, and he can be a bit keen. And it was just to get a race like today, and you know, it popped up and made the most of it. And look, he'll be a nicer horse. He's a horse for next year and jumping fences, so we're still sort of making him.
Seems to have a lot left there, didn't he, Stephen? He was tanking down to the last with his ears pricked, and you looked over his shoulder, you knew he had it won. How much do you think was under the bonnet there?
I mean, look, you can only do what's in front of him. Hopefully the handicapper's not too hard on him.
And how relevant was today's ground to him? Did he win despite the ground? Would he be better on better ground?
No, he probably, that kind of ground, yeah. He's a big old action on him, and he's a big horse as well, so a horse like him, we wouldn't be running him on anything silly.
Your only ride on the day, Lucinda's only runner on the day as well. How are things for you? You're connected obviously with the stable.
Yeah, I'm up at Lucinda's most days. Look, it's a great place. You know, Scoo's there, and they look after us very well, and touch wood, the horses are running well this year, and long may it continue.
There's always been an academy of young jockeys there, hasn't there, as well, with under Peter Scudamore's tutelage, a bit like at Harvey Smith's. You know, you got a Grand Master, haven't you?
They're always, you know, they're there to speak to, and you could ring them up, and you know, any time of the day. And I suppose, look, you say an academy of people, it probably all boils down to they have a lot of horses, they look after all the lads, and if you work and you put in the effort, they will look after you. They're very loyal to the people in the yard.
And how are things going with you numbers wise this season?
Yeah, not been too bad. I think that's 10 winners now, and I've had lots of rides, so look, touch wood, it's been going okay.
Yeah. And any update on Hoy Signor on the gallops or anything at home?
I was beside him going around Kelso the other day. We schooled round. I was with Derek, and I think touch wood, everything seemed well. He looked to be fairly good from where I was, because I was trying to keep up with him. But I think it's all systems go for next week.
And who would you have been on that day?
I was on Mighty Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's a Scottish National winner
That's
himself.
it. I think he's going for the Grand National. I think all being well. So the two of them had a jump around Kelso.
And Lucinda and Peter were happy with both horses?
Yeah, they were there. Yeah, everything was according to plan. I think it was just an away day to jump a couple of fences and get them out and about. So it's all systems go for both of them, I think.
Exciting times. Here's to a fabulous spring for the stable, and wish you all the best, Stephen.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.